Okay, so today we will continue to using more idea about how to using the composition. So first of all, you need to create a new composition. You may click the button at the middle and then I call it A. And then I can set up the composition with the width, which is 300 pixel, and the height is also 300 pixel. And for the 25 frame per second, and the duration can be 5 seconds. Okay, so remember the composition should be a transparent background. Okay, so remember you can switch on the transparency by clicking this button. And then I am going to create a background color, just a simple solid color. Maybe I'm creating the background using this color and then I can click OK. So I would like to draw a circle. Before I draw, I remember I need to click on the empty space and then I'm using the ellipse tool. Okay, this is the ellipse tool and I can change the color here. Okay, by clicking the button. And then I don't need to have any outline, so I just make it none. And remember to switch on, so you make sure that this is check. Okay, and then after that you need to draw a circle. So this is the circle. Okay, and then I can using the selection tool, and then you can see that when you click on this circle, you can see there's some control points here. Okay, I'm using the convert vertex tool. Okay, I can adjust the curve like this, or you can using this tool, you can adjust something like this. Okay, so first of all, I would like to remove the point here. Okay, so I can using the delete vertex tool. Okay, so that I can remove this point, and then I can also using the handle here. Okay, so that I can adjust the shape. I can also adjust the shape. Okay, now it's a half circle shape. Okay, so when you click on this shape, okay, you can check whether the center point is at the correct position. Okay, so if I zoom in, you can see that the center point is slightly offset. Okay, I can using the pen behind tool, okay, to move it back here. So first of all, I would like to create an animation, which is a rotation. Okay, so I will pressing the R button, okay, to showing the rotation. So starting from here, I switch on the stopwatch and then I go to 1 second and change to 90 degree. And then you can see that I've just created a very simple animation. Okay, you can see that the animation is holding the same position and then rotate from here to here. Okay, you can see that this half circle is from horizontal and become a vertical. Okay, and then I would like to hold for a while. Okay, so I can just simply to add another keyframe. Okay, and then I go to 2 seconds. I change the value to 180. So you can see that my animation is like this. Okay, so again, repeat. I will add another keyframe because I would like to hold the motion. And then at 3 seconds, I will input 270 and then I hold again by adding the key. And finally, I will input 360. So after you checking the animation, it should be like this. Okay, but I don't think the timing is good. So remember, you can click on the rotation and then go to the graph editor. Okay, remember the straight line here means this is a constant speed. You can see the horizontal line here mean there's no motion, okay? So I need to adjust the curve. Okay, so you still remember how we can adjust the curve. Okay, we can click on the handle. So you can see that if I adjust the curve something like this, means that the motion is starting from a very slow speed and speed up, and then by the end of the motion is also slow down. So I will adjust all the motion here. Okay, so you can see that I just adjust part of my animation. So I need to adjust all the motion. Okay, so that you can adjust the curve by yourself. When I change the curve like this, the motion is more exaggerated. So I change all the motion which is straight line. Okay, and make it into the shape like this. Of course, the shape like this is good, but I like to make a more exaggerated motion. So I make this shape more exaggerated. Okay, so finally, this is the last one. So after I adjust the curve, so you see that the curve is something like this. When you're looking at the animation, the timing is much better than the one that you didn't change in the graph editor. So once you're finished, you can just return it back to this motion. You may also adjust the timing by adjusting the keyframe here. So if I adjust the keyframe like this, so these two keyframe now is close together, mean that the motion here is faster. Okay, and you can see that if these two keyframe is really far away, means that the motion between these two keyframe is slower. So that now I'm also adjust the speed. So you can see that every time it rotate it faster. Okay, so this is the first part of the animation, and then I create another new composition. I call it B. Also setting the size, which is 300 pixel by 300 pixel for 5 seconds. Okay, this time I will create a solid layer. I'm using the gray color. Okay, so I would like to draw a smaller circle. So before I draw, remember to click on the empty space. So I'm using the ellipse tool. I'm using the yellow. Remember to switch on the Bezier path. So I draw a smaller circle like this. Okay, so before I do it, I will call it yellow. And you can see, okay, this is not, the center point is not really at the center of this yellow ball. So I'm using the pen behind tool. I can also switch on the snapping button. So I can make sure that now the center point is on a correct position. And I sometimes maybe when you move your objects around, you may using a method to helping you to align this circle back to the center. Okay, because actually you're not sure which one is the center. Okay, so actually on the right hand side in your window, okay, you can see there's a line here. So you need to select your layer first. For example, I need to align this yellow layer at the center. Okay, I go to here. I click here, okay, align horizontally and align vertically. Now it's at the center. Okay, so you can using these two buttons. Okay, so now it's at the center. And I would like to pressing S to show the scale. So at the beginning, I will change the value to 0 degree to make it very, very small so that you cannot see it. Okay, and then I change to 100%. So when you're looking at the animation, you can see. But the timing is not good. So as I told you that you need to adjust the graph editor. So again, this is a straight line. So the timing is not good. So you need to change the curve again. Let's say I would like to have a very fast motion at the beginning. So this is the curve that I need. Okay, very fast at the beginning, slow at the end. So you can check my animation again. Okay, very fast at the very beginning. But I think that the motion here is not interesting. So I would like to add few more keyframes to make this animation more interesting. So I zoom into the timeline. Okay, instead of 100%, okay, in the second keyframe. So you can see this is the first keyframe. This is the second keyframe. I Instead of inputting 100 degree, I slightly to make it more bigger. Okay, let's say 129. Okay, and then after one frame, I will make it smaller, much smaller. Okay, remember the value smaller than 100% means that the shape is scaled down. Okay, scaled down, so smaller. Okay, and then after 2 seconds, it will become bigger again. So over 100%. Okay, but this time remember, you're not bigger than this one. Okay, so you can remember the number, what you input here, 129. So for the second time, the ball will be scaled up. Remember, we will not input a value larger than 129. Okay, you need to input a smaller value. Okay, again, after 2 seconds, 2 frames, sorry, you need to scale down a bit. Okay, this time you can see it's smaller than 100%, but comparing with the last one, 71. So this one is bigger, right? So after 50 frames, I input 100%. So I can make my animation more interesting. So instead of just setting 2 keyframes, remember you need to adjust the curve to adjust the speed, okay, with the graph editor, and also you can add few more motion, okay, to make your animation more interesting. So this is my first motion, and then now I'm going to create 2 more circle, which is in red, okay, because I would like to create identical shape, okay, just like this one, the yellow one, okay, so that I can select the yellow one and then I go to edit and duplicate. So I have the second one, but it's identical. So all the motion, they're the same. So although there's 2 layers, but you cannot see the other one because one cover the other one. So you cannot see the other one. So if I move a bit here, so you can see that actually there are 2 identical circle, and also the motion is identical as well. But this time I don't need to have the motion of the scale, so I can just simply to switch off the stopwatch. So once I switch off the stopwatch, you can see all the keyframe is gone. Okay, now I'm going to change this yellow circle into a red circle. I can just simple to click some other color. Okay, so you can see this is my animation. This time you can see that I didn't have the scale motion here. Okay, so I would like to change the name of this layer so that I can know what is this layer. For example, I name pink. Okay, so first of all, it's in the center first. Okay, I set the keyframe position. Okay, so maybe I will set my first keyframe here, And then I will set another keyframe here. So you can look at here. There's a motion here. Again, remember, you need to adjust the graph editor. Okay, you can see again the straight line. So I would like to have the sorry. The slow in, slow out. So I adjust the curve like this, which is slow in, slow out, which is one of the animation principle. Okay, so you can see. The timing is more interesting than the previous one. Okay, but again, the motion of this key is not good enough. So I adjust a bit on the keyframe. So let me zoom in. So this time, instead of this pink will go here, I will go a little bit further. Okay, and then I will go back. So you can see part of the circle will be overlap. And after 2 frames, again, move to here. And this time overlap only a bit, a little. Okay, so finally, here. So when you're looking at the motion here, so you can see that after I setting keyframe, the motion is more interesting. Okay, so this is the first one. Okay, now I'm going to have another one. So I would like to duplicate one more. Okay, so I select the same layer and then I go to edit, duplicate. So now I have 2 pink one. But remember, the motion here, you need to remove again because I would like to have one circle to move from left to right, and other one is from right to left. Okay, so I remove all the keyframe, I switch off the stopwatch, and then I switch on again. Okay, so this time, this circle is moved to this direction. Okay, and then let me zoom in the timeline. After one keyframe, slightly overlap a bit. Okay, and then finally it will be here. So you can looking at the motion here. Okay, so but for the new one here, I didn't adjust the graph editor, so I'm doing it right now. So again, it's a straight line. Remember, I need to adjust in the curve shape. Okay, which is a slow in, slow out. Okay, like this. So you can see the animation should be like this. Okay, but I need to also adjust the layer a bit here. Okay, and then I also select the layer and then I make the beginning starting from here. And what you can see is here. You can see the yellow circle, scale up, and then it stop. And the 2 pink one is here. And remember the order of the layers. The yellow one should be at the top. So check again. Okay, the yellow ball here, and then 2 other circle is behind this yellow one. Okay, so you can see. Okay, finally, I need to combine this all together. So I create another new composition, this time, which is very big, very, very big one. So maybe I input 4000 by 3000, 25 frame for 5 seconds. So if you need to adjust the size or the duration, actually you can adjust any time you want. Okay, for example, maybe I would like to adjust the composition again. Okay, you can just simply to right click and then you can change this value. Okay, let's say I want to change to 10 seconds. So if I change it, you can see now my animation is 10 seconds. Okay, so if you want to make it back to 5 seconds, okay, just right click and composition setting and change to 5 seconds again. Okay, so you can see this is the very big composition, very big one. So what you need to do is you need to put the first one, put the second one. Let me zoom in to make sure that they are side by side. Oops. So I have two now, and then I select this two, I duplicate, and then move. Now I have four in total, so I select four of them and go to edit and duplicate. Okay, now I have eight. So I would like to cover the whole composition with these two graphics, okay, these two compositions. So I select them all and go to edit, duplicate again. So it's quite fast, okay, so that you can duplicate enough composition to cover it all. Okay, so I have the first row. Sorry. Okay, now I have the first row. I select all of them in the first row and then I go to duplicate, edit, duplicate. I duplicate the second row. Okay, so now I have two rows here. So again, select them all, duplicate again. I can using the arrows on the keyboard so that you can move only a bit, okay, pixel by pixel. Because maybe if you're using your mouse, it's very easy to move too much, okay, so that you can slightly to adjust. Okay, now I have four rows. Okay, it's because I moved too much. So I need to wait. because I moved. Okay, because I moved too much, so I need to do it again a bit. Okay, now I have 4 rows. So again, I duplicate them all. So now you have so many layers. So maybe your computer will become very slow. Okay, so you can see now I have a very big one, almost cover everything. So maybe this time I only duplicate the last 2 rows, okay, so that I can cover everything. Okay, so you can see this is my very big composition. Okay, so if you need to adjust a bit, okay, you can also um, adjust all the layers together by selecting them all. Okay, but remember it will make your computer very, very slow because there's so many layers at this moment. So you can see that I need to load the image because it's very big. Okay, so I have to wait. And also remember you keep save your files, okay? Because sometimes your computer very slow, okay, because you did a lot of things. There are a lot of different layers, okay? So you have to remember to save. You have to keep saving your file in different version. So I have to wait. Okay, still loading because my file is so big now. So remember you have to save all the time to protect your file just in case your computer will crash, okay? Okay, now I'm going to save my file because you need to submit your After Effects projects. Okay, for your assignment. So remember, you need to, I would like you to create a folder. Okay, for example, I'm class 1-1, my name, and this is my student ID, and this is for say2, so I create a new folder. Okay, and then I also rename the same thing. Okay, I'm class 1-1, Chen Tai Man, my student ID, and then say2. Okay, so you can see that I've saved the AEP files. Okay, this is for your assignment. You need to submit this AEP file to me. Okay, so I'm save it. Now I'm going to submit my assignment. Okay, so again, I will make my composition name with my name, and then say 2. Okay, for your assignment, you need to submit in full high den resolution. So I change this one, 25 frames per second. For your assignment, it should be 20 seconds. So I input here. So this is what your assignment, okay, you should put here. So I simply to drag this composition to the timeline. So you can see this is my composition. And then I can scale, okay. For example, I would like to make it symmetric. Okay, so I put it here. But you can see that the center point, because I would like to make the composition symmetric, so you can see the center point is not at the center. So before I move on, I need to adjust the center point of this composition. Okay, I can using the grid here and then move here. Okay, once you change the center point, you can switch off. Okay, now I'm going to using the scale button here. Okay, let me zoom in a bit on the timeline. Okay, so maybe here, setting the keyframe, and then zoom out, maybe here, set another keyframe just by clicking the diamond shape, zoom out again, so you can check with my animation. Okay, but I think that the motion is not good enough because I didn't adjust in the graph editor. So again, so you can see here, which is a straight line here. Okay, so you need to adjust the curve, the graph editor. So I make the motion much more interesting. Okay. The curve like this means the slow in, slow out. So again, now you can see. So you can see the timing is more interesting than the last one. Right. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you how to import the music. Okay, for your assignment, you need to import the music. So you go to File, Import File. Actually, there's some free music that I download for you, okay, for practice. Okay, but it's just for practice. For your assignment, you need to download your own music. But remember, the music, actually, you can see is the copyright music. So when you need to do your assignment, you need to find some music which is free copyright. Okay, so you can go to the Moodle here, and then you can check with the, there's two links here. Okay, these are some of the websites that you can download some music with no copyright. For your educational use, for your assignment, you can use the music here. Okay, but for the commercial project, you cannot using this music. Okay, So actually I have downloaded some for you for practice. You may go to the folder here. Okay, so you can try. Okay, you can download the music. Okay, so it should be in my download folder now. Okay, so remember, I have just created a folder and save my After Effects project here. So you need to drag your music that you have just downloaded and put it in the same folder. So you can see that I have created a folder here, and you can see the After Effects project have been saved here, and the music is also here. Okay, so remember, you need to put everything in the same folder. Okay, so that I can import my music here. Okay, let me do it once again. I usually file, import, file. And then because I put it in the same folder, so you can see the music is here. And then you need to click open. And now you can see your music is here. You can see this in MP4 format, about 20 seconds. Okay, the music is about 20 seconds. So you simply to drag your music here. Now you can, when you listen to the music, listen to your video, you can hear the sound. Okay, so make sure that your sound is here, the button is here. Okay, so for your assignment, you need to export it in MPEG-4 format. Okay, so before you export it into MPEG format, okay, first of all, you need to select the composition. Okay, this is the final one. Okay, you can see the size is 1920 by 1080. This is the assignment, okay, in 20 seconds. Okay, this is not the final version. This is not the final version. This is not the final version. This is the final version. Okay, so you need to select the final composition. Okay, this is the final one. And then go to composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder. Now you can see there is another software will be pop up. Okay, the software is called Adobe Media Encoder. So you need to using that software to export your file in MPEG-4. Okay, because for your assignment, you need to submit the After Effects projects, the AEP file, and also the render MPEG-4 video. Okay, so you can see that my computer is trying to open this software, so I need to wait for a few seconds. Okay, so you can see this is the Adobe Media Encoder. You have to wait. Okay, so the software is here. Okay, but you have to wait for one more moment. Okay, once you can see your files, which should be showed up here. Okay, on the right hand side on the queue. So you need to wait. You don't need to do anything, just wait. Okay, so allow, and then you can see that this is the files here. Okay, so you have to wait until you see this one. Okay, you can see the correct one should be here. Okay, you can see the same composition name. Okay, because your assignment need to submit in MPEG-4, so you need to go to here and select H.265. Okay, and then also you need to make sure that your file is saved in the correct place. Okay, so I need to click. Okay, so I need to save in the same folder. Okay, so this file, this is the folder that I've just created. Okay, so I save. After you change the location, the saving location, and make sure that this is H.264, and then you can click play button. Okay, and then the rendering will start very soon. So before you submit your assignment, okay, please double check with your final animation. Okay, you need to pay back and you need to check all the animation is here. You have to make sure that the music is here. Okay, if you check everything is correct, and then you can submit your work. If there is any problem, you need to fix it, okay, before you submit your work. So you have to wait for a few seconds. So you can see that the rendering is starting right now. Okay, done. So you can see after you finish, it will set done. Okay, so you can looking at the folder that I've create. Okay, this is the file I've just create. Okay, so when I preview my animation, okay, I can hear the music. I can hear the sound. The sound is here. Okay, everything is here. Okay, and also remember when you need to export your animation, you have to make sure that this work area should be cover the whole animation, which is from 0 second to 20 seconds. So you have to make sure that the work area is cover the overall animation.